Welcome everyone, I'm Vi. I'm e-commerce marketing expert at Omnisend. And as I said, I am so excited to be talking about all things subscriptions because I come from subscription background in e-commerce, and there's so many things that can be interchangeable between subscription-based businesses and regular businesses, things that you can learn and build on. So today, we're talking about thinking. That's the keyword, because mindset is everything, as in life, so in business. Because sometimes tools are there, solutions are there, people with capabilities are there. But if you have small mindset around your business, then I think you're in trouble because you might be capping yourself unintentionally. So that's why we chose to talk about mindset. Because it influences your strategy and in turn your revenue and your business growth and longevity overall. So who am I again? So as I said, I'm Vi. I've been in the e-commerce industry for over 7 years now, and in marketing industry over 9 years altogether. I worked with e-commerce strategies for new businesses, for established businesses who are rebranding. I've done go-to-market strategies, as well as just running e-commerce businesses. So I have a full view of how things are done in different environments. And also I have a degree in behavioral economics, which perfectly captures my fascination with merging data and technology and social sciences. So I'm very excited to be sharing some little nuggets with you today from social sciences that you can apply to understanding and engaging with your customers better. So a couple of things before we begin. This session is being recorded, and you will receive the recording in a couple of days in your inboxes. And if at any point you have a question, at the bottom of your screen, there's the Q&A tab where you can leave your questions, and I will do my best to answer those at the end of this session. So the agenda today. First, we're going to talk about the subscription brand mindset. It's what it is, what's the concept behind it. Then we're going to talk about automation flows that build loyalty. We're going to talk about repeat purchase strategies that you can try today, and then how to apply subscription tactics without actually having any subscriptions to offer. So what is the subscription brand mindset? I worked with subscription businesses that were e-commerce, also subscription businesses that were apps and mobile games as well. And I worked with smaller enterprises and really big enterprises. So across all of those domains, there are certain similarities and even patterns where the difference is just the scale of what you apply and how you apply it. So today, I'm going to share everything I've learned and everything you can use in your business today. So when it comes to subscription brand mindset, I kind of have three pillars around it. First one is treating customers as if they've subscribed to your brand experience. Something that I always like to ask my clients is, as a business, as a brand, what does your company do to delight your customers? Because yes, your product is important, the quality of it is important, but what else do you do to delight your customers so when they think about your brand, they feel all fuzzy and warm and they're happy and they want to engage with your brand? And my top tip here is, if you can, try to arrange 2 interviews. One with one of your customers that is very loyal to your brand. They probably had multiple purchases, and you determine how many is many for your business, because they're your loyal fans. They are clearly supporting your business. They find value in it. So talk to them and understand who they are, what triggers them, because you want more people like that in your business. And then also talk to someone who has purchased from you only once and they haven't returned. And again, you determine for your business how long is an indication that they're not returning. And then talk to them why, what happened. And then you'll have 2 very insightful images of the people who really love your brand and people who might not be for your brand, or maybe there are ways for you to get them to the other side to make them turn them into your fans. So definitely try scheduling those interviews with them and get that data on, and then build your brand experience on that. Then we have the second pillar, that is the goal is to make purchasing from you a habit, a predictable routine part of your customer's life. And I'll be repeating myself again and again that it's about building habits for your customers. Because again, you don't have any subscriptions as a brand. So when there is a habit, you're getting into that subscription brand mindset. So one of the examples here is when you think about your brand, let's say you're selling denim, jeans, and that's a subcategory in the apparel category. So what you want to do, you want to make your customers think about your brand as a whole category. So that's where, when I worked in fashion, with fashion brands, that's why you would get, again, denim brands, but they would have socks or quality basics like t-shirts, because how often do people actually buy denim? So to get those people coming back and thinking about the brand, it was talking about, hey, we have these basics as well. So think about how can you position your brand, not just as a subcategory, but a category overall in the customer's mind. Another example here is think about mattress businesses. People buy mattresses, hopefully like every 10 years, but then what else do they need for sleep for that category? It can be pillows, but people don't buy pillows that often. Then it might be bedding. You can get that seasonal. You can make it inspirational. And then what else do they need more often than bedding? Washing the sheets. So you might start thinking about introducing your own detergent. And I understand supply chains are tricky and difficult, but try thinking just that way and test things on a small scale and see if that's relevant for your customers as well. The third pillar here is you provide consistent value, convenience, and incentives so your customers keep coming back. When it comes to consistent value, a lot of times people jump to the conclusion that it's about the product, but people are not buying. So how can I provide consistent value? So something to remember is that you can provide value through content as well. It doesn't have to be your product. So if you're going back to the denim example again, think about it this way. Just if you start consistently sending messages to your customers about how to style denims, how to style your products, or if you're a skincare brand, how to use it, seasons change. Are there any other ways how to use the skincare products that you sell? So you think about the value coming from your content as well. Again, convenience and incentives, those are pretty straightforward. You might have discounts or other incentives for people to come back. So those are 3 pillars. And something I wanted to touch on before we move forward is retention versus acquisition. So as I've been in the industry over 7 years in e-commerce, year after year, we can see an increase in customer acquisition costs because majority of the customers come from ads. So there's a few research points that I wanted to share just to illustrate why focusing on retention could be more beneficial for your business. So it can cost up to 25 times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. And without a retention strategy, 3 out of 4 customers are likely to churn instantly. So that means they buy once and they just never come back or even consider coming back. So just think about it when you're, again, evaluating your retention and acquisition budgets and strategies. Something that just came to my mind, it was one brand that I worked with. They were fast-moving consumer good subscription business. And they had a very polished supply chain strategy. And even then, the customer acquisition costs were so high that they were only breaking even after the third purchase. So they would have to wait 3 months to break even and then hope that the customer would stay for the fourth month as well. So that's for, like, again, well-oiled businesses and subscription. So just keep that in mind. And another data point that I found, and these are average customer acquisition costs by industry. And again, these are just benchmarks for average numbers, but they, from my experience, look pretty on point. So you just think about how much you have to spend to acquire your customers. And what I would encourage you to do every quarter, review your customer acquisition costs, because things slip away easily, and things slip through the cracks as well. From my experience, many businesses, especially on the smaller side, they only account your ad spend as customer acquisition costs, where in reality is everything that costs you to get customers. So people's wages, tools that you use. So again, just be really mindful about that. And next, when it comes to that subscription business mindset, there's an 80-20 rule. And it's a little bit weird how accurate it is in my experience. So there has been some research on that, that around 80% of your revenue can come from repeat customers. There's another data point that says roughly 28% of customers account for nearly 60% of revenue on e-commerce brands on average. So it just really proves the point that when you have those fans of your brand, those champions, you really need to zero in on them. An example of a very healthy subscription business that I worked with, we wanted, again, to check their business health and evaluate, what would happen scenarios. And we looked at the numbers. What would happen if there were no new customers coming in starting now? Like, how long can the business survive without new customers and only relying on those returning ones? And for that specific business, it was over half a year. So over 6 months, they can survive without acquiring any new customers. Of course, they were a massive enterprise, but just kind of keep that in mind when you look at your business. Imagine there are no new customers coming in. How long can your business survive on the cash flow from the customers that are coming back to you? And you might be starting doing the math in your head. Don't worry, Omnisend has your back. We have Lifecycle Map AI for you. So if you have at least 100 orders in your account, then you can use the AI that Omnisend provides to kind of get an overview of your business and your customers. So the deep green color, those are your super fans. Again, those are people who love your brand. They keep coming back to you. You really want to hold on to them. And again, try talking to them to understand who they are, because you want more people like that. Then in the gray area, you have recent customers, you have high potential customers. So everyone you would want to get from that gray zone into the green zone. And then the third zone is the red one. So those are people who are about to churn, and those one that's very important segment that as well is cannot lose segment. So those are customers who have previously bought from you and they were in the green, the super fans, and something happened that they stopped purchasing from you. So the proof is that they are your fans. You just need to figure out what happened. And later on, I'm going to share some tactics that you can use. But if you go to your Omnisend dashboard, you can see this lifecycle map. If you toggle over the colors, those segments, it will tell you what those segments are and some tactics of how to approach them as well. So I've been talking and talking. What I would do if I was starting a business today in regards to email marketing. So that's an introduction going through that subscription business mindset. And first of all, if you're looking at acquisition, I would focus on growing email list. Find what works and double down on it. And what I mean by that is first party data is gold, because those are your subscribers. They give consent so you can talk with them. They showed initiative. And there's this tendency to, again, for acquisition, just to run ads. But if you're running ads, the goal is to sell something. And if you're not selling anything, if there is no purchase, that costs a lot of money. And then the best thing you can hope for is brand awareness. But with brand awareness, you cannot measure it. And most importantly, you cannot nurture it into a sale. So when you have those subscribers, the subscription list, then you're kind of like putting those people into your controlled environment where you can nurture them through the welcome emails, through campaigns. And there have been times when Meta channels were down. And imagine if that just stopped working. How else would you sell, with ease and confidence? So to help with that, we're going to link this in the chat, and we're also going to link this in the recording. We had Jesse from Viber Media a couple of weeks back, and he shared how his agency, Viber Media, has scaled client email revenue to $1.5 million with Omnisend. And that's just email revenue. Something in his presentation that I would really recommend you watch and at least try, give it a go. He talks about growing that email list specifically through ads, but not focusing on sales. So if I were you, I would go watch it and try his tactics that he used. Then I would focus on retention. So I would focus on email automation for different segments. And of course, incorporating SMS and push notifications in that strategy. And this is where subscription brand mindset really comes in, because they rely on automations and continuously testing retention strategies, different segments. Because as I said, you have those customers, they already purchased from you. So you just want to keep them, again, in your environment. And something to think about as well, I learned that with supplement brands. When you have a customer purchasing from you the first time, they might have a specific goal in mind or aspiration. So let's say if you're a supplement brand, maybe they bought from you to lose fat, to lose weight, and they're in segment A. And then suddenly you see that the loyal customer in that cannot lose segment, they suddenly stopped purchasing. And the reality is maybe their aspirations and goals have changed. So you as a business should think, okay, they probably moved into another segment, or they have another aspiration. So you can move them into a segment that's about win back. Just offer them a discount, see what they purchase, and then just pop them in another segment that could be based on the product that they bought. So your goal is to keep the people within your ecosystem of automation. Just because segments are automated, people just keep moving through those segments, and you're talking to them differently as they change. So the common mistake here as well that I like to mention is tendency to use campaigns for one-off campaigns for retention. So that usually happens when there's a new business or a very overwhelmed team or a business that doesn't take the time to create segments and automation flows, which might seem a little bit daunting, but with Omnisend, we have templates for you. So we've done pretty much all the work, plus using best practices. You just need to explore them and adapt it to your business. So we have a very busy business and they haven't set up their automation, and they see that there are no new customers coming in or not enough. And they try thinking, how can we engage existing customers? And then they usually just blast their email list with random campaigns, random messaging, and nothing changes. So that's why when it comes to your retention, just spend some time, spend a day, a few hours looking into the most important things that you can start with today. Again, watch Jesse's webinar because he's touching on those segments that you can engage as well. So a quick exercise. Don't worry, no need to stand up. This is something that I used to do with my clients, and also when I worked with subscription brands, when I would get lost in the weeds. when I would start overthinking the strategy, what should I do? What should happen? And what I like you to do, just take 5 minutes. You can do it with your team as well. Think about 4 categories. So skincare, coffee, chocolate, apparel. And try to think about subscription-like tactics that they might employ for their audiences. So there's always automations. What sort of automations they might use? If it's a beauty brand, maybe they're focusing on restocking or rewards. If it's a coffee brand, again, it can be a restock or it can be loyalty points and incentives. And then, of course, there's exclusivity element that you can create, especially for apparel, when you can give people early access to sales or early collection drops as well. So pick a segment, pick a category that is very different from where you're at, and then think what they would do as a subscription business. So when you take yourself out of your day-to-day thinking about your business, it kind of like relaxes the muscles in your brain, and then it helps you to look at things from a different perspective. And then you can think, okay, how can I move those tactics into my context? So give this a go. Okay, so why customers hesitate to subscribe? And I wanted to talk about this for everyone who's not representing subscription-based businesses, because those hesitations, they are the same for everyone. I would say they probably are just more pronounced in subscription businesses because people can outright not subscribe, and you can identify that problem. And this comes from this observation we had with Omnisend clients that traditional subscriptions are declining. And the phenomenon still remains that people are buying monthly, but not committing. They might even be paying a little bit extra. If you offer discounts for subscriptions, people are still buying monthly. So here are some hesitations there. First, desire for control and flexibility. I'm sure we can all relate to that. I don't want to leave my credit cards there. I want to know every time I'm paying something, maybe I'm budgeting or planning things, or again, maybe I just like flexibility. What if I'm going to change my mind in a couple of weeks? So that desire for control and flexibility. Then avoiding long-term financial commitment. This is something, again, so natural when we have uncertain times, but all times are uncertain now. So definitely can relate to this sentiment. But also what I've noticed working with subscription brands, that there is a spike in cancellations before the holidays because people want to spend that money on gifts. So let's say you're a beauty brand and maybe you don't offer subscriptions, but you kind of expect a dip in single products leading up to the holidays, but you might expect a spike in gift sets and bundles. And knowing that there's going to be that spike in cancellations, with some of my brands, we started employing this tactic where leading up to Black Friday, we would offer people an option to pause their subscriptions because we were right out there being, hey, we know you might want to spend that money on gifts. So if we give people a chance to pause their subscriptions and then resume after the holidays, they were more likely to stay with us, and then we could forecast easier into the new year when it comes to revenue. And the same thing about your brand. There's probably going to be a spike in Q4. How can you already start thinking about re-engaging those people in January once the holiday craze is over? Then we have fear of losing money on unused products. So again, example of my friend who was a fan of this snack subscription. And I would come over to her house and I would see those boxes just piling up. And I'd be like, are you not interested in the snacks? And she's like, well, I just open the box, pick up what I like or what I'm interested in that moment. And I just kind of just leave it and forget it. And the fear of losing money on unused products, like, again, is very related to the other ones. So, people just want to try things out to get to know your brand and your quality. And it ties into the other hesitation, the lack of trust in brand. So you think about, what can you offer your customer in order for them to try your brand, to have the brand experience of yours? Is there a way of doing that? And that's usually leading up to the first sale. And that's why also subscription brands have that one-time purchase options instead of subscription, because one-time purchase is better than no purchase. And the last biggest hesitation is immediate gratification. And I think it's this one is the most underplayed, because when we're doing digital business, we're already cutting people off from that immediate gratification and getting things in their hands immediately. So they have to wait for the order to come through. So if they subscribe to a brand, there's a chance that, you leave your credit card number in there and you only get notification that money has been taken off your account, which is not very gratifying. So it sounds a little bit silly, but it's a very powerful thing. Like instant gratification is an instant hit of dopamine that we all so much enjoy. So when you think about your brand, see, like if you're launching a new product, creating a landing page, sending any emails of your communication, think if you're addressing these hesitations there as well. So what are the key automation flows that mirror subscription brand strategies that I would encourage you to consider and audit them if you already have some? So we have welcome series. This is not exclusive to subscription businesses, but really spending the time on it and testing it and building it up, I think is very important for every single business. Then we have post-purchase automation, and then we have replenishment flows as well. So when it comes to welcome series, it literally requires another webinar. And luckily for me and for you, we have one that was done by Ruta, our senior customer success manager, where she talks you through how to get that customer from the first buyer, from their first purchase and turn them into repeat buyer as well. So she goes into detail of how to set up your welcome flows. So I really encourage you to watch it. You can use it to audit what you have already, and I'm sure you'll find something that you might have didn't think about, or maybe you've forgotten as well. So go check it out. And then we're going to move on to post-purchase flows. When it comes to post-purchase flow, there are some key characteristics that distinguish it from others. And think about it as not just a shipping notification, that is a transactional email altogether. So post-purchase flows, it manages your customer's expectation. It's you sharing with them how to use the product, asking for their opinion. It's kind of like nurturing that relationship, and again, creating an experience that the customer starts trusting your brand, enjoying your brand, wanting to purchase from you again. Then post-purchase flows, it helps to build loyalty and trust. And this topic is it doesn't come naturally to us when we think about the digital brands, because we're not directly customer facing. So there are some psychology, I don't want to say tricks, but like psychology elements in building loyalty and trust. So first we have cognitive ease and reducing friction, because post-purchase automations, they guide the customer to their next steps without requiring effort. So maybe in your post-purchase flow, you show the unboxing of your product, so the customer knows what to expect when it arrives. And simple things like that can really get the people to trust your brand, because they know what to expect, and then they can match it to the reality. And also it manages your brand experience as well. Then we have positive reinforcement, which I cannot stress enough. Again, it can be a little bit counterintuitive. Even if someone has the money to buy something, if they really wanted something and they bought it, there's always that hit of dopamine followed by buyer's remorse. That's when we start thinking, oh, should I bought it? Oh, I don't know. So positive reinforcement means in post-purchase flow, you can tell your customer you made the right choice. So reinforcing that positive element, positive experience with your brand as well. And again, I'll repeat myself, it's habit formation. So when it comes to loyalty and trust, when you give a nudge to your customer to use your product, you're building a habit for them. And if there's a habit, there's loyalty there as well. So brands that help customers to build routines, let's say your morning routine of the coffee that you sell, or skincare routine before you go to bed, your brand becomes emotionally embedded in the customer's mind and lifestyle. That just becomes part of their routine, and that's where the loyalty and trust comes through. And then the last one is the straightforward one. It allows for natural upsells and cross-sells as well. Think about it as a waiter coming over to your table at a restaurant and asking, is everything okay? Would you like something to go with that? Would you like more drinks? So it's not very pushy, because when we send out campaigns, well, no matter how we word it, it's usually, please buy from us. So when you send upsells and cross-sells in your post-purchase flow, it's more natural, it's more acceptable. There's less resistance there as well. So when it comes to post-purchase flows, I would say I would split it into two sections at least. So one is what do you send to a customer after their first order? Because they just made that commitment. As we said, they might be feeling that a buyer's remorse, where they're questioning things, or maybe they still don't trust your brand because they haven't actually tried anything you sell. So this is a basic flow that I recommend to start with. And it's just adjusted to your business, but that's been my go-to for years. So after the order is fulfilled, after a week or two, have a mindful check-in. Again, as I said, imagine you're a waiter coming over to a table, asking if everything is okay. And this is definitely comes from some intense experiences when you're running a business and you start getting bad reviews. So when you send that mindful check-in, that's your opportunity to keep any dissatisfaction contained within your internal communications. You ask, is everything okay? Did you like it? Did you even try it? And then the customer has the space to say, no, I didn't. Or share any of the complaints, disappointments, and of course, share the happy things as well. But if there are any disappointment there, you can fix it. And also, it's better than them venting on like review sites, where then you have to go through the hassle of asking the customer to amend the review if they fix the situation. It just becomes a lot of work. So keep it contained in the emails. And then after another 2 weeks passed, or however long, depending on your product and the product of you use, remind them to reorder. Be like, hey, the time has passed. You probably are running low. Why don't you reorder this product? And then, of course, suggesting some complementary products as well, because that's a perfect time for it. And then I would have another flow for everyone who's been purchasing continuously. So the second, third, fourth, and so on purchase. And for subscription businesses, that second purchase milestone is so, so important, because you're getting the proof of concept that the customer is interested, they're engaged, and you're doing something right. So you definitely want to celebrate it internally. And I also recommend you celebrating it with your customers. So here's an example of what you can do with Omnisend. You can build your own segment. I recommend that you have the trigger is order fulfilled, because some people order things and cancel. So after order is fulfilled exactly 2 times, then we create an automation for it where we send a message to the customer. Probably the natural thing that you might want to do is like, oh, do I have to put another discount in there? Like, I'm running a business, I want to make money. So when it comes to especially the second order, something I've seen work for some brands is sending a personal message. So I had a founder of the business just film herself in a selfie mode, no longer than 30 seconds, being like, hi, I'm the founder of this business. It means the world to me that you're purchasing. And again, reinforcing that positive side of you purchasing it. telling the customer you made the right decision. So that little personal touch can also go a long way in building the brand trust, the loyalty, and the overall sentiment of the brand. Then we have frequency and VIP incentives. Again, you're not a subscription brand, but you still want to recognize those repeat purchases and customers coming back. So I would start with repeat purchase segmentation. And the easiest way to do things, I would think, is most of the e-commerce platforms today have very good reporting tools internally. So you can see if you can find out the numbers within the platform, or you can download the past year's data on orders and ask AI tools to show you the patterns in purchasing. I like to use Claude AI for data analysis. Just make sure that the data is anonymized if you don't have, say, enterprise packages there. So I would try to figure out how often do my regulars reorder? How often do they place orders? And then also trying to see if there are patterns when people normally churn for my business, meaning did they buy 2 times and that was it? Like, what's the pattern there? Because then you can use that data and patterns to mimic subscription cycles specifically for your business. So it could look something like that. You have top tier regulars as a segment. And in the segment, you see that there are people who are purchasing 3 or more bags of coffee in the time of 3 months. So there's a pattern that they're purchasing a bag a month. That's your subscription pattern. So you create a segment that order fulfilled at least 3 times in the last 90 days. And then you build a workflow where you reward that customer. So it can be a special discount, a free add-on, or maybe just expedited shipping, which is always nice, especially if it's something like coffee. That's like a fast-moving consumer good, and you really don't want to run out of it. Another example is maybe you want to celebrate every 5th order. So same flow, you create a segment, order fulfilled exactly 5 times, create a workflow, and then add a little message, a discount, whatever resonates for your business. So that's been post-purchase flows that I would really recommend implementing if you're not a subscription brand. And also, again, talk to your customers and find out who they are and how they behave. Because there are, in my experience, there are a lot of assumptions and not enough data. And especially if you want to build something similar to a subscription business engine, you need the data and understand those patterns. So the next workflow that I'm going to talk about is the replenishment workflow. And again, it's about building habits. So the best way to think about replenishment workflow, it's a crossover between abandoned cart, because you know exactly the product that you're selling to your customer. And it's also a crossover between a post-purchase email, because you're talking to the customer who has already bought from you in the past. So keep this in mind. And the key characteristics here are that, again, it builds habits. It focuses on reordering the same item or items. And it's very action-oriented and urgent. Again, you cannot miss reordering this because you will run out of this product. So yeah, I would keep the formula of replenishment workflows very easy. And don't worry, Omnisend has a template for it. But just to talk you through, I would keep the subject line personalized and short and to the point, being like, you're running out of this product. Here's the name of the product. Then in the email, show the image, just so it's easy to scan what are you talking about. And then have a clear CTA that is about urgency, like get it now. And if you can, add a little incentive, because that's what subscription businesses do. A little discount for repeat customers so they keep coming back. A few other psychology-related nuggets here for you. So when you have replenishment workflow, you're reducing the cognitive load for your customers. because I wouldn't rely on my customers to remember to reorder. It would be very nice if they constantly thought about my brand and they were like, yeah, I need to get that. I definitely need to reorder. And most often we are so busy and so distracted that just think about the last time like you ran out of something. Is that happens quite often to us, especially when it's something not as urgent, coffee, skincare, other things. So again, if you have a replenishment workflow, think about you helping your customers to remember to reorder things that they like. Then, of course, you have triggered anticipation, meaning that there's that little hit of dopamine whenever the customers get a message from you saying, hey, there's that item you like. And it kind of goes into that reward approach as well. You're getting a message being like, hey, we're running out of this item. They purchase the item, get a little hit of dopamine there as well. And most importantly, everything we were talking about, it's about convenience and support. Like we all have the fundamental need for ease, reliability, and care. So it's just think about replenishment workflows of you doing that for the customer. You're just caring for them instead of being the pushy seller. So that's why I say one-off campaigns, we always know that it's about someone asking us to buy from them, but replenishment workflows is someone taking care of us, reminding us not to run out of the things that we like. So this is how to set it up on Omnisend. Again, we have a template for you based on best practices. So you go into your automation workflows and look for replenishment. You'll get replenishment reminder flow that's already preset for you. Then the triggers are already preset as well. So after the order is fulfilled, you can see that you wait for 3 weeks and an email is sent to the customer reminding them to reorder. Then the personalization side that I mentioned, we already have those in the subject line done by Omnisend. So the item that the customer has ordered will appear, its title will appear in the subject line as well. And then, of course, you can customize email content. But again, we have dynamic layout where we pull the images and product names and links to product pages for the products that the customer has already purchased from you. And then lastly, don't forget to use SMS. And this might take some time to test what works best for your audience. But include SMS as part of replenishment workflow because we all are looking at our phones, right? So we're looking at our phones. They will definitely see your message reminding them to buy from you. So make sure your message is enticing. Maybe it's time to reorder. Here's a discount for you. Again, it helps to build habits. So people will start thinking about your brand and again, be like, oh, okay, I need to reorder. And it also helps with expectation building and that trust, because you'll send that message first time, the customer will be like, oh, that's a nice touch. And then the second time, they will start trusting your brand to remind them to reorder. So they'll be like, okay, cool. Next month, they'll just remind me and I'll order again. I don't need to set anything up. It's gonna happen and the brand's taking care of it as well. And when it comes to testing, again, for things like coffee or items that are priced maybe like under $30, you wanna try SMS first because people are then less hesitant to purchase things through their mobile phone. So you send a message and they're more likely to just complete the purchase there and there. But if it's something more pricey, then I would recommend, again, testing it, but maybe test the email first and then see if you can send an SMS for those who haven't opened the email. And here's an actual example of a supplement brand that works with Omnisend. So as you can see, there is a trigger for people who ordered the product. There's a product title or SKU in this sense. And then the flow waits for 23 days because the supplement should last you 30 days. It reminds the customer to reorder. And then there are exit conditions. If the customer has bought it, they exit the flow. And then there's also an SMS message for those who haven't opened the email, just to remind them once again, hey, you're running low. You don't want to miss this. So that's how an actual supplement brand deals with it. And to summarize what I just shared, hopefully it was of value to you. In the post-purchase flows, it manages your brand experience for the customer. It builds loyalty. It allows for natural upsells, and it also nurtures trust and loyalty from your brand. In replenishment flows, it's more about building habits, and it focuses very straightforwardly on reordering a certain item again and again. And it's also action-oriented and urgent. Like, you really don't want to miss out. You don't want to run out of this product. And some top tips that you can take away from today. Always customize your triggers and filters. You know your business best, and maybe you have a big category of items that last 30 days, then you can create triggers or filters that are applicable for collection pages rather than individual products. So definitely explore what you can customize specifically for your business. Then set appropriate delay. And here it might take some time to figure out what it is for your brand if you're not a subscription brand. So, and also the curse of knowledge. Maybe you design a product, let's say a moisturizer, and internally you establish that it lasts for 30 days. But then you notice that people start complaining about getting your emails because they haven't finished their product yet. So do the research, again, talk to your customers, watch the patterns in the data. Maybe you need to adjust that delay by another 5-10 days, whatever that is, in terms of your customer habits. Then use dynamic content. Again, Omnisend has already taken care of it. So all you need to do is to create a replenishment workflow and just adjust the content and the branding to your liking. And combine email and SMS. Again, I cannot stress this enough. SMS is just so powerful when it comes to quick reminders, getting your message noticed, and you really want that to happen to trigger a repurchase, because people already have bought from you, so they know the product, they know the experience, they know what to expect, they just need to purchase from you. And then lastly, again, test and iterate. So you're not a subscription brand, and I understand that some patterns might not be obvious, so test it at small scale, see what works, iterate. And if you need help at any point setting things up, maybe something's unclear, you need just someone to consult with, contact our support team. We're open 24/7, here to help you out. So don't feel like you have to just sit down and figure it out on your own. We are here to help you. So do not hesitate to contact us. And to recap the subscription brand mindset, again, it's about creating that brand experience. How do you delight your customers? How do your customers refer to your brand? Not in terms of the product and its utility, but how they feel about your brand. Then it's about building habits. Building habits is how subscription businesses thrive. A habit that your customer uses your product again and again and again. And that's how we build loyalty and trust as well. Remember, emotionally embedding your brand into your customers' lives. And then finally, consistent value, convenience, and incentives. So there's a huge market out there, and every industry, every niche has its competition. It's fierce out there. So make sure you're delivering consistent value, not just in the product sense, but in content sense as well. So customers have your brand top of mind when it comes to your purchasing in that category. And think about the incentives. Again, discounts are the most effective ones. but see how you can balance that with just value that you create. So next is Q&A. We do have one question from registration page, but I'll just check to see if we have any questions in the chat box. Okay, I can see that Ira done a great job. Right, so one question that we had in different forms submitted before the webinar was about how can we adopt subscription mindset if we sell seasonal or very niche products? And it's possible. Good news. No need to despair. So focus on predictable life cycles. So every business has some predictability. Again, that's why I would use AI tools to really see the patterns that you might not be able to see. You might be surprised. And then focus about anticipating needs. So for example, you can create a workflow that is that happens 6 months after the last order. Let's say you do party supplies. So you can send a message saying, hey, you grabbed this best-selling party box 6 months ago, maybe it's time to plan the next one. So you're kind of like suggesting that, hey, you might want to do this again. And it's great for seasonal purchases like gifts, holiday stuff, candles, one-off apparel purchases as well. When it comes to apparel, there's new seasons. Hey, especially if you live in 4-season climate, you can just remind people, hey, in winter you bought this. This could be a complimentary product, or check out our spring collection. But in your copy, you are communicating in continuity, being like, hey, we're friends already. Here's some other things you might be interested in. And one of our success cases at Omnisend, it was the cake store. And what they did that actually, it converted 32 times higher than promotional messages. So they set up a trigger for product placed in a 348-day delay. So pretty much a year has passed to be sent to those customers. And what happens every year? Birthdays, anniversaries, and luckily for all of us, there are different occasions, different birthdays every day. So if you're growing your if you're growing your subscription list, then you can ask in your form, you can ask not just for an email, but for birthdays as well. And make sure you're having those flows set up, and see, it might take some time because you're not a standard subscription business that gets to sell a product every month, but just think about those repetitive patterns again. Like there's anniversaries, again, birthdays. Is there a pattern in your industry where people keep purchasing your products continuously? So that's kind of like the mindset that I like to adopt, that there's definitely a predictable cycle in your business. You just need to find it. So use AI tools for data analysis. Talk to your customers, again, talk to your super fans, talk to people who haven't bought from you again after their first purchase. Get the bigger picture, and I'm sure you'll find something that will bring value and will work as a subscription business tactic as well. So that is it. Thank you everyone for joining me today. And you will receive the recording in a couple of days. You will receive the slides. You'll receive all the assets. And hopefully, you'll get to try some of the tactics. Just kind of give it a go. Just really challenge yourself thinking, if I was a subscription business, what would I do to get people to buy from me? So again, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. And I will see you soon.